What is up, pretty people? I am back from Greece and I am back in the egg chair, and I can't wait to tell you all about my trip. Here's to another episode of Too Pretty to Be Unhappy. Oh my God, guys. I have to tell you, Greece was incredible. The pictures that you see online, it is not fake. It is not fake news. It is not a farce. It is not false. It is stunning. The people, the culture, the food, the history, the architecture, the men. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. All of it. This time I went away again. I went solo, but I did meet up with a travel group again through Contiki, like my last two European trips. And this group, though, what was cool about it was that it was a bit of a smaller group. I am used to being on these trips with like 30 to 40 people, people from all over the world. And what was cool about this is that there were only 15 of us on this trip. So, of course, like starting out right off the bat, I was a little bit nervous just because with the less people, I feel like your percentage of meeting people that you actually connect with can go down as well. So that made me a little bit nervous, but let me tell you, it was still incredible. The people that I met, although there were only 15 of us, were so amazing. I have new friends now from Australia, Canada. Some people here in the US were there, Chicago and New Hampshire. So it was honestly, it was incredible. It was so fun. So let me start from the beginning. So I flew out of JFK and flew into Athens. Now, my trip to JFK was just obviously like it's never a dull moment when I travel. And so long story short, I ended up driving myself to JFK and parking my car. I know what you're thinking. It costs, an arm and a leg, and it does. I had some commuter benefits left over from my corporate job that I use. So, it kind of like forgotten money, whatever. So I end up driving there. Now, if Greece is heaven, JFK is hell. Okay? There's a lot of construction going on. First of all, just driving through the city, hate it, awful. And then driving through JFK, there's a ton of construction going on there right now. So like the signage, terrible, awful. I circled JFK 4 times looking for the Delta parking garage for Terminal 4. Couldn't find it. I start panicking. I had left my house at 3 o'clock. My flight was leaving at 8:30 at night. I figured I'd get there latest by 5:30. I'm there 3 hours before my flight. That's what you're supposed to do for international. I ended up parking my car. I had to stop and talk to a cop. And I was like, where is this terminal? Or where is this parking garage? Because I'm lost. I'm freaking out. I'm supposed to be getting on an international flight. I parked 20 minutes before my flight was boarding. That's how long it took. Okay. Now, also, as soon as I park, I'm rustling around. I'm anxiety ridden. I'm scrambling. And of course, then nothing goes right. Right. So I park my car. I go to take my phone out of my purse. My AirPod goes flying. I can't find it. I get on the ground in the parking garage. I'm in between my car and another car, on my stomach, on the ground, laying flat, looking underneath the car next to me. I pull out my AirPod. Thank God. Pull out my AirPod, found it, put it back, get inside. I go through security. Thank God I have TSA pre-check. And they also do this new cool thing where, honestly, guys, I don't even think I took out my ID or my passport once. I swear to God, because it was all facial recognition now, which is also terrifying, but it was literally all through facial recognition. Like, I didn't pull out my passport. I didn't pull out my ID, nothing as I went through security. So I'm going through security, and guess who gets picked for a random search? Yep, me. obviously. So, I go through the thing, goes beep, 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 beep. Now I'm in sweats. I know I don't have anything. And she goes, "Oh, you've been randomly selected for a search." I said, "Of course I have, because I'm in a rush." And so now I'm like standing there and I'm like, and like, you cannot speak to these TSA agents and tell them that you're running late, because the amount of fucks not given by a TSA agent is incredible. Like, they don't care if your flight is taking off in that moment. They are not going to move any faster. And I'm like, I kind of like aspire to be them, to not care so much, but then I'm also like, I'm frustrated and like I'm running late. And then of course, like, was that my fault because I couldn't figure out where to park? Whatever. So this woman, this TSA agent, has to call 3 times for another agent to come over and frisk me. Okay. Now it's every time. And you can tell she's starting to get a little frustrated. Like, come on, like, this girl's waiting. And I'm literally sitting there and like, I'm like sweating and I'm panicking. And I'm like, my flight is going to board. My flight is currently boarding. What am I going to do? So I get through, whatever. Obviously, they don't find anything. Thank God. Not that I had anything to hide. And so I get through. Thankfully, my flight was delayed a little bit. We were delayed like an hour or so. So it was fine. I get in. I get on my flight. And I'm sitting in front of 2 woo girls. Now, I don't know if you know what woo girls are, but they're the girls that are like, woo, like all the time. And like, okay, here's the thing. The flight was supposed to take off at 8:30 at night. It is now like 9:30, 10 o'clock. It's bedtime. Okay, we're on a plane to Europe. And so in the beginning, I'm like, okay, they're excited. Amanda, they're excited. They're going to Europe. They're going to Greece. We're flying into Athens. This is great. Don't burst their bubble. Just let them have this moment. Okay. Then I let them have 10 moments and 20 moments and then 30 moments, 30 minutes of moments. And I said, this is absurd. No, we're not doing this. I need to go to bed. I need to go to bed. I have to be refreshed when I wake up in Europe, in Greece. Okay. So I turn over and I'm like, I do the look back and I go, can you guys like shh a little bit? And she was like, oh, shocked that I'm asking her to be quiet and to stop talking on a night flight. Also, you shouldn't be talking on a flight at all. Like, those people that talk and chit chat with each other on a flight, no one wants to hear your conversation. Okay? Everyone wants to watch their movie, eat their snack, their little snark, okay? And pass out, especially on a night flight. All right. So then we land, everything's great. I get off the flight. I also pack, as you've heard in like previous episodes, I do not check a bag. I was going to Greece for like 11, 12 days. I did not check a bag. I really push the carry-on luggage like limits to their max, just because I still have PTSD from my luggage being stolen off of a conveyor belt. And I was also thinking, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to Europe. I have these really cute outfits. I'm only going to be there for 11 days, and we're constantly moving in those 11 days. So, like, the chances of my luggage, if it gets lost, catching up with me are slim to none. So I was like, nope, I'm not going to chance anything. So trust me, if I can do it, you can do it. You can just pack a carry-on for 11 days to Europe, I promise. So I get off. I get through customs. Great. Awesome. Got my little stamp. So excited. I get out. I call an Uber. Their Ubers are through like taxis. So like you call an Uber and then like a taxi shows up. Guys, my taxi was a Tesla. A Tesla. It was gorgeous. It was clean. It smelled good. It was like New York City taxis could never. All right? They could never. They couldn't compare. They couldn't compete. It was such a smooth ride. It had like the like see-through ceiling. Like it was, and I could like see the clouds above me. It was incredible. It was so nice. Of course, the taxi driver that picked me up was so kind. He was like, "Oh, can you put your seatbelt on?" I'm like, "Oh my God, yeah, of course." Like, absolutely sorry. So it was honestly, it was incredible. It was awesome. Like, great. So now I get to my hotel. I freshen up a bit. I meet up with the group. We find out there's only 15 of us. I start to get a little nervous, but I'm like, you know what, Amanda? You've done this 2 other times. You can do it again. Like, it's just a smaller group, but everyone looked really nice and kind. And again, people who do things like this don't suck. Okay? People that do trips like this do not suck. So I felt a little better about that. So it was nice, you know, you get in, I met up with, you know, some really nice girls. All the guys were really nice. It was awesome. Great. So the place that we flew into Athens, and then we, after that, traveled by ferry boat. So we first went to Mykonos, then we went to Paros, then Santorini, and ended in Eos. The ferry boats, guys, are like cruise ships. They're really nice. Like, nothing like the Staten Island ferry if you've ever been on it. Way nicer. So that was nice. It was always very comfortable. The commute was comfortable. You know, the traveling, it wasn't typically that far. The first day was like 4 or 5 hours on the ferry boat from Athens to Mykonos, and then on the very last day it was a bit longer. It was like 6 hours, but we were all tired. It was the end of the trip. We kind of slept most of the time. Great. So Mykonos was fun. It's very similar to what you think that it is. Clubs, beach clubs. We stayed at a beautiful resort right on the beach. There was like an infinity pool that looked out over the ocean. The Aegean Sea is very similar to the Adriatic. Ton of salt, so you're very buoyant. You barely have to like kick or swim in order to stay afloat, which is cool. So Mykonos was really beautiful. The town in Mykonos, I think it was called Fir, that we stayed at, Fir, or that we like drove into. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me. And it was beautiful. We saw, you know, we took a tour with this lovely woman. We learned all about the history. We went into we went into a church there that was beautiful. And so what I learned as well when I was in Greece was that all of the houses are white. And like, there's a reason. It's because it's a government mandate to keep the aesthetic of the country. So literally every single building structure, basically, except if it's like a historical monument, I think, is pretty much white. And then if it's a church, I learned that all of the churches have the blue dome. So if you see a blue dome, that means that it's a church. Now, another cool fun fact that our tour manager, Alana, shout out Alana Kontiki, what she had told us was that the reason that they were painted blue was when Greece was invaded by the Persians, they would not allow them to fly their blue and white flags. So the churches painted their domes blue, and then their buildings were already white as a way to symbolize, you know, Greece and the pride for their country and the pride for their flag. So I was like, wow, that's really cool. So Mykonos was fun. The nightclubs were really cool. And then we ended up the second day or the second night, there was like a beach club right next to our hotel. We went there and they had like a paint party where like they painted your faces. It was really fun. And then the next day we left for Paros. So Paros is really cool. And I think that I might like Paros the best. And we were in Paros and we were in Lefkis, and they're all really small, like a bit smaller, like picturesque kind of like towns and islands and things like that. What I liked about Paros was it was a little bit more low key and a little bit slower pace. Of course, you know, all of the little streets and cobblestone streets, and they go into these beautiful like jewelry shops and things like that. Like, everything is so picturesque and so pretty, and you could honestly just get lost going up and down each alleyway. So when we were in Paros, we did a day where we went to one of the bigger like towns in Paros, which I'm gonna butcher this name. I think it's Nassau, but it's not spelled like Nassau, Bahamas. It's something else. And what's cool there is that we went around, and it's right on like the coastline where all the fishermen go in and out. And what they do is the fishermen go out in the morning and they fish for octopus. Then they bring it back and they dry out all the octopus on their boats right over the edge. So you see like these boats with all of these octopus just hanging out over the edge, drying out. And then the restaurants sell those octopus at night in the restaurants right there, which I thought was so sick and so cool. So it was honestly really beautiful. Now, we had a little bit of an incident in Paros. Now, for everyone's privacy, obviously I'm not going to be using any real names, nothing like that. We're keeping everyone's privacy. But this was it was wild. Absolutely wild what happened. So, We were, me and a group of people that I was with on this trip. There were probably like 4 or 5 of us. We had some time in Nassau, and we were walking through some of the little shops, and we came across this little jewelry shop. Now, in these shops, they are just like, there's just like hundreds of just like bracelets, anklets, necklaces, earrings, just like lined up on shelves, right? At the end of the day, all the shit looks exactly the same. Like, it's all the same shit. It's like evil eyes and like, you know, flags and like all that kind of stuff, right? And, you know, none of it's like super expensive. It's like 38 euro, and I'm pretty sure that I got about 97 cents to the dollar on the euro. So like, it was pretty much like even exchange rate, which was really nice. There was someone else on the trip who we are going to call Paul outside of the shop. And now this girl, my new friend, who we are going to call Vanessa, she liked one of the necklaces. So she picked up the necklace and she stood at the door of this shop, and she didn't leave the shop, but she stood at the door of the shop, put the necklace up to her neck, asked Paul, like, hey, what do you think of this? He was like, oh, it's nice. And she had already had a ring in her hand that she was thinking about buying. And so she asked the shopkeeper, she goes, oh, how much is this? She goes, oh, it's 39 euro. And she was like, oh, you know, this ring that I want is, you know, like 40 euro or whatever. She's like, you know what? I'm on a budget. I don't need this necklace. I really like this ring. So she had a backpack, and she had her money, all of her things in her backpack, because we were going to a beach after. So she bends down to grab her money out of her bag to go to pay for the ring. She turns around, she puts the necklace back down, and she goes to the cashier. She pays for the ring. You know, I got a couple things from that shop. A lot of people got a couple things from that shop. And, you know, we turn around to leave, and the shopkeeper was like, comes up to Vanessa and asks, you know, where is that necklace? Like, did you put that necklace in your bag? And so Vanessa obviously is like taken aback. She's like, absolutely not. Like, no, of course not. She goes, it's right here. Like this is where I put it. And so she was like, the shopkeeper was like, okay. So like, we were all kind of like, that was weird. So we leave the shop, and, you know, we walk, and we're going to meet up with the rest of the group, because as I said, we were going to the beach after that. So we get to the center of town. We're waiting for everyone. All of a sudden, the shopkeeper comes running, right? Like running towards us. And she has her phone in her hand. And so we're like, what, like, is she yelling at us? Like, what? So she comes up to us, and she looks at her, and she starts saying things like, you took the necklace. I have it on film. I have it on video from like their surveillance. And she was like, so now poor Vanessa is like shaking, right? And she's like, I didn't take your necklace. I did not take your necklace. Like, and I have not known this girl very long, but let me tell you, there is not a malicious or bad bone in her body. Like, you know, when you just get vibes from people, and like, you know, when someone's a good person and when they're not, like, trust your gut, as I always say. This girl did not take this necklace. It is not in her to take this necklace. So now, you know, she's freaking out. She drops her bag. She starts like shaking her bag out. She goes, go through my bag, take everything out of my bag. Here, she starts shaking her bag out, opening up all of the things. And, you know, we're looking at the video, and, you know, each of us watches the video, and she goes, you took it. Like, look, I have it on video. Now, what this woman had on video that we saw at that moment was, yes, like, Vanessa took the necklace. She put it up to her neck. She asked Paul outside, what do you think of this necklace? He said, it's great. Then she decided not to get it. You see her in the video bend down to grab her money out of her bag, necklace still in hand. Then she turns around, and now her back is facing the camera. And that's when she put the necklace back down. So all this woman is seeing is that she's bending down in this video. Her hands are in her bag, taking her money out to pay for that ring. But when she turns back around, you don't see what happens to the necklace, because her back is to now the surveillance. So poor girl is shaking. I feel heart sorry for her. And so we call our trip manager, and she comes over, she watches the video, and, I kind of look at her and I'm like, hey, I go, how about this? I go, let's just go back to the shop. Vanessa can show them where she put the necklace down. We will see that the merchandise is not missing from the store, and we can go home and we're all good and everything's good. We were like, okay, great. So a few of us go, we go back to the store with the shopkeeper. Now we get there and the Greek police walk in. So they have called the police. And so this police officer walks in. And of course, then, there's a heightened, nerves, everything gets heightened as soon as the police walk in, right? Especially in a foreign country. And all of us in that shop were foreigners in Greece, right? We don't speak Greek, nothing. But luckily, another thing that you learn when you go to Greece is a lot of people do speak English. So if you're worried about that, having a language barrier, there really isn't a language barrier. A lot of people speak speak English in Greece. So we get into the shop. All of us are kind of, chatting, talking about what happened. We get in there. Vanessa points out the necklace. She goes, this is what I was looking at. I'll never forget it. It was a gold necklace and it had little white dots, kind of like the necklace that I have on right now, but it's got just little white dots on it, right? And with gold throughout. And so she goes, this is the necklace. This is the necklace that it was. It's not gone. So all of us are kind of okay, great. We're good. Here's the necklace that you said was stolen. It obviously hasn't been because it's right here. We're all good. The shopkeeper continues to say, I'm not crazy. Look at this video. Look at this video. She took it. And so we're what are you, ma'am, what are you talking about? She didn't take it. It's right here. That video is circumstantial at best because you don't see her actually physically put the necklace in her bag or walk out with it. Now me, I'm no lawyer, I'm no cop, but I have seen Scandal and I do love Olivia Pope. And so now I put my white hat on, right? And I'm looking around and I'm like, oh, I see the camera, the surveillance camera where the current video is coming from. And then I see another camera that faces the other direction so that when Vanessa had turned around to put the necklace back, that camera would have caught it. Because the one camera we saw had her back, that one would have caught it. So I'm looking around and I look at the shopkeeper and I look at the cop and I say, where's that surveillance camera footage? I go, where is that? Because that's going to show her turning around and putting the necklace down. And the shopkeeper was like, oh, the camera angle doesn't reach that far. You won't even be able to see it. I'm like, ma'am, something's fishy around here. Something's real fishy. So I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I go, where's that footage? And so now the cop and the shopkeeper start talking in Greek. And so now all of us are like, we don't know what you're saying. And we didn't really like that. We were like, we don't really know what you're saying. What's going on? So now Vanessa is very upset and she's like, listen, she goes, I will pay for it. She goes, I didn't take it, but I'll pay for it just to get out of this situation and be done. I'm in a foreign country. I don't need to be going to jail. I'm very scared. I will pay you whatever you want for this necklace, even though I do not have it. And so now me and Paul are there and we're like, you're not paying for it. This is bull. You did not steal that necklace. You shouldn't be paying for it. All of a sudden the cop looks at us. He goes, well, I could arrest her off of this footage. And me and Paul looked at each other, we're like, she'll pay for the necklace. We'll all pay for the necklace. And we're like, oh my God, I cannot believe that this is happening. This is insane. So I felt so sorry for her. But honestly, she ended up, she threw some money down. She goes, listen, take this. And she got her change. She threw down a 50. It was €35, something like that. She got her change and we walked out. And I was like, oh my God, that was insane. And, no one needs to be going to jail in a foreign country in Greece. And all of us are looking around each other are we all going to get arrested here? Am I going to jail? And I just felt so sorry for her. But honestly, at the end of the day, thank God everything ended up okay. It was fine. It's a little frustrating that she did not take the necklace, but, it is what it is. So for the rest of the trip, and let me tell you once again, this girl, she's kind and bubbly, and I know, I like I said, I didn't know her long, but I'm telling you, she was not capable of stealing or taking this. And I feel really bad that this happened to her. But thank God she is really positive and she did not let this ruin the rest of her trip at all. Like me, I would have been down in the dumps for like days after that, like just feeling really sad and scared. But she bounced back immediately, and that just goes to show the type of person that she is. And it was really incredible. So yeah, for the rest of the trip, anytime I walked into a store and I picked up anything else, like I got some jewelry and things like that, I literally carried it out on my palm like this, like almost above my head, so that any camera at any shop could see where it was and see that I was not taking a thing. So just if you are traveling in any foreign country or anything like that, like something that this is a new lesson for me, just be wildly, wildly careful when you're handling merchandise in any store. You know, it was an unfortunate incident that happened, but it was a learning lesson. And now I know, you know, moving forward, and I hope all of you guys know, just be wildly careful anytime you're handling anything in any store. You're looking to buy something. Like there was a point where I was looking at a couple pieces of jewelry, and each one that I liked, I immediately brought to the cashier and I said, "Can you hold on to this for me?" And she was like, "Yeah, absolutely." I was like, "Just while I look." So that way there was no question. Okay, so yeah, so that was interesting. And so then after that, we went to a black sand beach. I had never been to a black sand beach. So what that is the island has a volcano on it. And so the volcanic ash turns the sand black. So that was really cool. I'd never been on a black sand beach before, so that was really interesting and cool to see. So that was awesome to spend some time on the beach, get some sunshine. It was awesome. And then we kind of just headed back, got some dinner that night. We watched the sunset. It was incredible. It was really special. We just kind of like sat on the beach, watched the sunset that night. Then we went for some dinner. It was great. Some other random, sorry, I know that I'm kind of all over the place on these stories and like my trip, but now I'm just saying them as they come to me. Some other random things about Greece that I did not know or wasn't aware of is that number one, you can't flush the toilet paper. So you go to the bathroom, you use the toilet paper, whether it's for one or two, and then you're supposed to throw it in the trash can, and you're not supposed to flush it because their system is so old that it can't handle that. So that's why like maid service comes in every day, they change your trash, whatever. But I'm literally sitting there, I'm like, if I lived here, like, could I do this? Could I just like throw my toilet paper in the trash every day? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it was something that you really had to get used to, and like it can come off as like really uncomfortable at first. So like just a heads up about that. And then also you can't drink the water. So, or they recommend you don't drink the water. Like you can brush your teeth, blah, 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 but like don't be chugging that water. I don't know why. I think again, it's probably just because their systems are so old. So we drank bottled water. But the cool thing about that is that since you can't drink the water, the government regulates the pricing on bottled water. So that stores and things like that they can't inflate the prices. So I was getting massive, like the big jugs of water, like the tall ones for like $1, for like €1 or €1.50. Like it was insane. So that was really nice too, that they do regulate those prices so that, you know, you can drink water and it's bottled, but it's good for you and you're not going to get sick. I also found that the pricing there is really reasonable. I was paying for a glass of wine like €4, which is just about like $4 here, US, $4 or $5 for like a nice glass of wine. And of course the wine is really good. I did go and when we were in Paros, we went to Lefkis, and it's like a really small town near where we were staying. And we stopped in at this little restaurant, and I had a glass of rosé from a winemaker that lived like 10 miles down the road, which is really cool. And so the wine was really local. And I think I paid, like €4 or €5 for it. Any type of like, they also love a club sandwich there, which is kind of strange. There was always like a club sandwich on the menu. And so any type of sandwich or lunch or anything like that, I think I was paying like €6, €7 for like a full sandwich with chips and a drink and things like that. So I found the pricing to be wildly reasonable for Europe. So that also is a big plus if you are looking to take a trip there. It's very affordable as far as, you know, what I at least I think it was. Oh, okay. One other thing that I had to get used to in Greece were the wild cats. Yep. Cats are everywhere. I live in upstate New York. how there are squirrels everywhere, like climbing up the electric poles and the trees, and like that's cats everywhere. They are walking through like outdoor restaurants and like just the streets and courtyards and like things like that. It's just, they're literally out there like squirrels or like, ew, rats in Manhattan. It's just, it was something I was like, I cannot believe there are all these cats around. I never had an issue. I know, I don't really like cats to begin with, but I didn't find them to be violent. Our poor trip manager was scratched or bitten by a cat like a long time ago or something like that, so she doesn't really like them. But if you kind of just like shoo them away, they'll go and stuff like that. But that's also something, just a heads up, like cats everywhere. So like any crazy cat ladies, just like go to Greece, you'll be in your glory. So Paros was really beautiful, and then we went to Santorini. So Santorini is super picturesque. It is also very touristy. But the good thing about the timing of when I went was it is right before their busy season. So technically May is still considered their shoulder season. And so what was nice about that I really enjoyed a lot more, was you weren't shoulder to shoulder with people as you were walking through the streets. You were always able to get into a bar or a restaurant, get a seat. It wasn't super, super overly crowded or busy. And I really loved that because I felt like I was able to enjoy my trip more and be able to really take in the scenery, the shops, the food, the everything, just because I wasn't overcrowded. And what else I really liked about it was it wasn't too hot. So it was anywhere between like 65 and like 78, I would say. At night, it did get a little bit chilly, like you needed a sweater or something like that. I'm okay with that, but it wasn't overly cold where you were shivering and stuff like that. I thought it was the perfect time to go. It's right as things are beginning to open back up again for their busy season, but it's not too hot. It's not too crowded. I loved it. So especially going to Santorini, which is a little bit more touristy, I really loved that. So that was really good for me to be able to see that kind of more touristy island without the crowds. So Santorini, again, super beautiful, super cool. You know, that's where all of like the women, they'll go and they'll take like those like blue dome pictures where they wear like this like crazy long dress with like, and it waves and it like, they pick it up and it flies in the wind with the blue domes and it's picturesque. And it's like, yes, all of that is yes, all that happens, all of that is true. So Santorini was very cool. We stayed a little bit outside of the main town, which was okay. We could walk right into it. It was like a 15-minute walk. That was fine. Be ready though, like anywhere in Greece, mostly Europe, but especially in Greece, I am an ankle rolling champion. So if any of you know me, I roll ankles like it's my job, right? So I can't believe I saw anything in the country at all because I was constantly looking down at my feet and at the ground and like where I was stepping as to not like misstep or like step in a ditch or lose my balance or something like that. So just word to the wise, if you are known for rolling ankles or anything like that, please just be careful, wear comfortable shoes, wear supportive shoes. It's also very uphill. So because a lot of, at least where we were in Greece, because we were Greek island hopping, so we were right on the coastline, it's uphill. These cities, these towns are built on cliffs, on mountains, on like whatever. So like you need to be ready to walk uphill. The glutes, the buns were burning, but it's all worth it. Okay. My calves, my ankles, you go to bed exhausted and like, but it's the best type of exhaustion. Do you know what I mean? Like it's that like, you feel so fulfilled, like you had such a good, productive, fun day, and like it's worth it. It is so worth it, but just be ready. So Santorini too, like we were walking uphill, you're like up and down, steps and hills and everything. But again, the shops were beautiful. It was right on the Aegean Sea. It was stunning. Every time we had dinner, it overlooked the coastline and the water and the rest of the town. The town just lit up at night, and it was beautiful. All of the wait staff, all of the people that we met, all the Greek people that I met were so kind and so wonderful. And the cool thing that we did in Santorini, which is one of my favorite parts of the whole trip, was we went to a Greek wedding show. And so it was an interactive show where they put on what a Greek wedding is like in the 1940s. So it starts right off the bat. So you show up and they kind of put you in like this like staircase for like waiting until they let you enter into the actual theater, quote unquote. And an announcement happens, and then these like crazy fun cousins come out. They're all dressed up and they're all loud and they're kissing everyone and they're welcoming you. Thank you for coming to the wedding, cousin. It's so nice to see you. You look so beautiful. And it was like just so fun, just right off the bat. And then you get inside and there's a little pre-show and everyone's singing, and then they bring you into like the actual where you're going to be sitting, and there's little individual tables with tablecloths. You get unlimited wine, you get like bread and Greek salad and tzatziki and things like that. And it's these people, and they're just, they're singing, they're dancing, they get you up to dance. So we did, the dancing where you hold on to each other's shoulders and you like dance in a circle and you're kicking and like everyone's screaming like oppa, and like it is just my mouth hurt, my face hurt from smiling so much the whole time. And these actors were so talented, and they were singing, and they mixed in like Greek music with new music. Like they sang like Alicia Keys and Billie Eilish and like things like that, and then there was like classic Greek songs and stuff, and they got everyone up dancing. And then at the end they gave everybody 2 plates to smash, and you know how like you like dance and then like you like smash your plate in the middle, and it's like it was so fun, and it was high energy, and it was cool that it was based in like the 1940s. Everyone was dressed like that, and like it was just glamour and cool and fun. And so I 100% recommend, if anybody ever goes to Greece and you go to Santorini, please, please, please do the Greek wedding show. It was a really super fun night. I think it was only like €75 or something, but like, let me tell you, it was like over 2 hours long. You're dancing, they feed you, there's wine, there's everything. Like, it is worth every dime, every cent that you have. So that was great. And then we went to Eos, and Eos, let me tell you, it's a big party. So, and that was really fun. That was a really fun way to end our trip. We didn't really see, I would say, too much of Eos. And to be honest, if you're going to go to Eos, you're not really going there for the culture. You're not really going there for like the history and stuff like that. Like, you're going there to have fun, to dance, to go out at night and things like that, which like to each their own. Like, I had a blast. It was awesome. So that was really fun. But what we did do in Eos was we stayed at a hotel right on the beach. And then one day we went out and we rented speedboats. And so we had this really awesome speedboat driver. He was from South Africa. I forget his name, but he was really nice. And so he took us out, and we jumped off the boat and we went through these caves. So we swam there were 3 caves. So you jump off the boat, you swim to the cave, and there's little tunnels that connect each cave. So we kind of went in a line, you just swim through, and once you get closer to the cave, you can stand. You don't have to swim the whole time. And then you can stand most of the time in the cave. So you go through and like you're literally like crawling / swimming through each of the caves. So let me tell you, I don't usually do things like this. It was definitely a bit outside of my comfort zone of like jumping off this boat, like swimming to this cave, swimming through these caves, through these tunnels. But I was so happy that I did it. It was so fun. It was a rush. It was fun. It was just really cool to do with all these really awesome people. Then we swam for a bit. We got back on the boat, and then we went to our next stop, which was you could go snorkeling, and there was a shipwreck. So you snorkel above the shipwreck and you put your head in, you can see the shipwreck and stuff like that. So they did that. That was really cool. And then they took us to a little private beach. We had lunch, we had some sandwiches, we hung out for a little bit, and then we got back on the boat and went back. It was fun. It was like just enough adventure that I like and I needed. So that was kind of a good fit for me. And then we went back. We went to this bar the first and second night, and they had karaoke. And so fun. 2 people on the trip, 2 of the Aussies that I met on the trip sang the song Love Story. Now, fun fact, a couple from Chicago was on the trip with us. And right before they got to Greece, they were in Paris, and they went to the Taylor Swift concert. and he proposed to her during Love Story during the Taylor Swift Eras Tour concert in Paris. And so that when they came to see us, literally it was like brand new news. It was like the next day they met all of us and like, we got engaged yesterday in Paris at Taylor Swift. So it was just like, and let me tell you, they were the kindest, most gentle, funny, quirky, they were the best pair, and they were so cute. They've been together for 3 years, and they live in Chicago. And let me tell you, they were just so kind and sweet, and they really complimented each other. And they were obviously their fiancés, but they were best friends. Like you could tell that they were just best friends, and like it was so sweet, and how he looked after her and she looked after him the whole trip, but they were so fun, and they were still hanging out with the guys and the girls and like going out and being fun. So like it was awesome. And so the Aussies sang during karaoke Love Story, and they sang and we all sang to them, and that was just really fun, and just like definitely a memory that I have from the trip. So and then we also, when we were in EOS, one night, we went to a couple different bars, which was really cool. But then we ended up going to a silent disco. Now, I've never been to a silent disco before. It's really awkward when you walk in and the place is packed and everyone's dancing and the lights are low and like there's like, and this silent disco was kind of cool because it was Alice in Wonderland themed. So there was like all different like Alice in Wonderland like paraphernalia and like sayings on the wall, like everyone's mad here and like all that kind of stuff. So that was really cool. And so what they do is they give you these headphones and you can switch to 3 different channels depending upon what music you want to listen to. And so they're different colors. So like red, blue, and green, I think. And so it's funny how you see if you're on red and you see everyone who has like a red on their headphones, that you all are dancing to the same beat, but then the people in the blue are all dancing to their beat. And so you can kind of switch if you don't like the music. So that was really cool and different and fun. And like, it definitely took some getting used to though, because it's also like for me, I got a little bit like, ooh, I don't like not being able to hear my surroundings and like having like not being able to like know and hear what's around me. But then you got used to it and like it was fine. So yeah, so that was really fun. And then after EOS, we got back on the ferry. We had a 6-hour trip back, 6 or 7-hour trip back to Athens. Everyone was pretty tired, knocked out on that. And yeah, overall, I mean, it was an incredible trip. I can't express how good, the food was. The food was so clean. And I experience this every time I go to Europe, though. I feel so energized. I don't feel full. I don't feel sluggish. I don't feel any of that when I'm in Europe. And I really think it's a lot because of the food that I'm eating. And it's so clean and it's clean of pesticides. And it's interesting because even something as simple as a Greek salad, which what's a Greek salad? It's cut up tomatoes, pepper, cucumber, and onion with some olive oil and like spices and stuff. I could eat it for days. It was just so crisp and so good. And even the vegetables taste better there. Like the breads, the cheeses. I had an amazing risotto one night and you don't feel like garbage after. And so I think that has a lot to say about their food and things like that. So the food was incredible. The people were kind. The history, all the Greek mythology, our trip manager did a really incredible job. Anytime we were on the bus and stuff, she would tell us a little story about Greek mythology, which was really cool. I know I really like Greek mythology. My sister does too. So that was really cool. Also, I mean, like I said, the men were so handsome. Very like everyone was Uncle Jesse. Everyone like, hello. So handsome. I was like, any of you looking for a single nice American girl? Because I'm here and I will move here for good. So scoop her up. Let me know. Also, my sister's wedding's coming up. I need a wedding date if any of you want to come back to America with me. So it was awesome. It was incredible. I would absolutely go back. I want to go back and I would love to see Crete and I would love to see Corfu. So Jocelyn, my best friend, has been to Greece as well. And she said Corfu was her absolute favorite. I've heard amazing things. So I would love to go back and see that. And I would also really like to visit Crete. I give Greece 2 thumbs up. It was incredible. Kontiki did an amazing job again with their itinerary. It was just enough downtime and just enough adventure and fun and history and culture and food. Like it felt very well proportioned the whole trip. So I got to have some downtime. I got some time in the sun. I was able to relax, but then I also didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. I saw a lot of sights and history and stuff like that. Yeah. And then just, the trip home was good. It wasn't a full flight, so I got the two seats to myself, which was great. And let me tell you, if you do nothing else in your life, get Global Entry, because it felt so nice to get off that plane. And they bring in all the international flights at the same time, right? It was so nice to get off that plane, see that hour and a half long line of people waiting to get through customs, and you walk right through. If I waited a minute and a half, that was a long time to get through customs because I had Global Entry. It was the greatest investment I've ever made. Please, everyone, go get Global Entry if you were looking to leave the country. It really didn't take me that long. You just go on, you fill out an application, they run a background check. It's a really thorough application. You get conditionally approved. Then you have to go to either JFK or Albany or something like that. They take your fingerprints, you go through a quick interview, and then you're good to go. As long as you have nothing to hide, you're all good. But yeah, guys, it was absolutely incredible. I would definitely go back, and I hope that all of you add this to your travel bucket list if you haven't already been. If you have been to Greece, I would love, love, love to hear what you guys thought, what your favorite spots were, and things like that. And so leave a comment, let me know, DM me, whatever you want. Let me know how it was. And yeah, I would also really love it if you guys could rate this podcast, leave a comment, share this podcast, do as much as you can. I just want to continue to grow. I love doing this, and I love telling you my stories and connecting with you guys and being with you guys. I really missed you guys over the last 2 weeks, so I'm so happy that we're back together. And I hope you guys are excited for next week. We have our very first official premiere male guest. My friend Nakoma is going to be on next week. I'm really excited to bring his story to you guys and get a male perspective on, some of the things that we've been talking about. So I'm really excited. Be sure to tune into that next week. All right, guys. I love you all. And as they say in Greek, yamas, that means cheers. And so yamas to another great episode. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Stay pretty.